Yeah, again start. Please start.
Okay, so this is our syllabus from 4.6 to 4.10. As I said, it's more of an inquiry because every practice is to make an individual realize his true potential. So, as teachers, whenever we get into a practice, we have to see the state. So that very very important to for understand. After teaching yoga, we have to see a normal person becoming a in simple words a gentleman, and maybe I'm not even telling about a superman. Okay, a gentleman. So let us understand the etymology of what is personality. It's a coming from the Latin word persona, the mask worn by the actors while playing their role in the drama. See, here in the drama, what we are trying to say is what is the role each of us have in life. So personality, the acronym is this is something which is made uh, in order to look at the totality perception. What does a person see? Very important because perception may be differ from the reality. Perception can be biased. We have something called cognitive biases based on certain community, certain religion, certain upbringing. Our perception is based on certain things. Emotional maturity based on the uh, personality. Everything is connected to our emotions. Now, emotions has a very big role to play, especially when it comes to our thought process, responsiveness to the situation. Whenever some situation comes, two people behave totally different, and you find for somebody it is an opportunity, for others it becomes a threat. For everything in life, how a person looks at any situation is very very different. I have a lot of examples to show about this. Sociability, how well he is connected. Today, there are organizations which look at your social quotient. You know, you may be very good in your intelligence, but how much are you able to relate to your fellow beings? How much are you able to relate to the society? All of it is very important. Originality, what a person can think, because each of us are blessed with a unique quality. How much can we bring our originality? Neutrality. There are times when we cannot even express certain things. We need to be a very neutral thing. Certain things we say, if you cannot choose the best, if you can choose, choose the best. If you cannot, do the best. So there is a lot of neutrality which we need to be bringing into our personality. Appearances. See, appearances to a large extent comes from a very traditional way of looking at it. Earlier days, before IQ came in, people were talking about PQ. PQ is nothing but personality quotient, where your people who are supposed to be great people are supposed to be, there's something called great man theory. They say people who are good are great people, their height and build and everything differs. But then to a large extent that doesn't come in anymore. Leadership feeling. Leadership here is nothing but taking initiative. Okay. Whenever something comes, we always say, no, don't think about what India can do, think what you can do for India. I integrated. Everything is integrated, whether it is the material kingdom, the animal kingdom, the plant kingdom, the human kingdom. Understanding the whole of it is very important. T, the tendency. The tendency is your reflexes to act. Why? Is young. Young in thinking. It can be flexibility, it can be anything. So this is a slightly different definition, but I may try to simplify. My next slide will be more simplified. Personality is a dynamic organization within the individual of those psychophysical systems. What you see in your mind and what you see physically, that determines his unique adjustment to his environment. As I said, there are same things which one can see as an opportunity and one can see a threat. Being from the corporate, I'll give you a small example which was a true example. Way back in the 80s, when two industrialists went to start industry, it was Dhirubhai Ambani and Aditya Birla, Kumaramangalam Birla's father. Both of them were in Mantralaya for days together, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. Every day they used to go and sit in Mantralaya from 9 o'clock in the morning, 6 o'clock, 7 o'clock. Nobody meets them and then it goes back. So Aditya Birla said, I think India is not the place because here all the babus, the government people really require money or something. We don't know. They have never met us, even though we are talking about developing Maharashtra, we are talking about developing their own state, developing, giving employment to the locals. So Aditya Birla said, no, I think India is not the place. Tomorrow onwards, I'm not going to come. Let me start industry in some other place. And he went to Indonesia. The same opportunity, Dhirubhai Ambani said, okay, now I understood last 4 5 days why I was not met. Okay, so it's only the question of money. So let me get money, borrow money, and start giving it to these people. And he says, India is the place for me to start. So same opportunity, same one saw it as a threat, other saw it as an opportunity. And we know what after that Reliance has done. They did everything by managing the government. So let us understand personality work from a more of a simpler sense. Personality is what makes a man who he is. It is the inherent characteristics that define a man's character. Now, why inherent? Why inherent? Ushaji, Gopinathan sir, there are a lot of things which are inherent. They say,
Yeah, some habits are coming.
It's an
correct,
inborn
correct.
quality.
Yes, very good, very good. For example, our upbringing, our family, our education, our culture. That is why they say no leaders are neither born nor made, but they are born and made. Nature and nurture both plays a big part. The way he carries himself, his attitude, and the way he approaches every aspect of life makes up his personality. Society judges a person based on his personality. A man's success, both on the personal and professional front, depends to a large extent on this. I'll give you one more example. It's very important because this subject, when we teach, this subject is very less time where you are going to teach it to yoga students. Yoga students, whatever you do is an outcome. Nobody is going to tell that I'm going to develop personality in a yoga class. But if you are called in an institute, if you are called in a college, if you are called to give a lecture in any of those places, and definitely you will be called and you have to be called. If not, we will make arrangements for you people. There was a boy who came for interview. So he was a boy who has gone through a lot of struggle. So the interview panel looked at him and he found 10 standard the highest, 12 standard the highest, engineering highest, everything. So he was asked, tell us the background. So he said, my mother, my father, at the age of when I was 1 year, my father passed away. And my father was a washerman. So my mother took care of me. Okay. She started doing all the job. She started washing clothes, drying it, ironing it, and going to houses to teach me. And then I reached this level. They said, okay, so what do you feel about your mom? No, I feel a lot of respect. I feel everything what is there is because of her. So these people said, why don't you show your both the hands? So they took the interview panel took both the hands and looked at both his palms and they said, it looks like you have never touched a kapada. You have never done anything. I said, no, because my mother used to say that, no, you should study. So that immediately was it asked, how was your mother's health? No, most of the time she was unwell, but still she used to go to work. They said, you're academically, you're strong, but we don't have a job for you. You being a son has never helped your mother. Okay, who brought you up so much? We don't have a place for you in this company. And the guy was rejected. So that much importance of personality is. And most of the interviews, everything and happens, there are a lot of psychometric testing which will be given. Immediately they'll come to know what kind of person is, whether he's a relationship oriented whether it's a number oriented, whether it's a task oriented, or whether it is a person who is very good in mathematics and logic. Beauty only gets attention, but personality captures the heart. Okay. And we know what happened to the life of Marilyn Monroe. We all know that, right? The most beautiful lady who had everything in life, but committed suicide at a very young age. So, personality is the pattern of collective character, behavioral, temperamental, and the emotional traits of an individual. So, if you look at what are the uh, personality traits, flexibility. Okay, if you are rigid, people immediately will say, "अरे, बहुत खड़ूस आदमी है." Confidence, sense of humor, resilience. I'm sure everybody knows what is the word resilience. Whenever you try to help others, you need to be strong enough to help others. You know, a typical example they say for resilience is in the aircraft. Whenever you want to help others, first you put your own oxygen mask, so you will know how to help. Adventurousness, trying out new things, spontaneity, bravery, tolerance, open mindedness, adaptability, optimism, and curiosity. So what is temperament? It is a set of inborn personality characteristics that influence an individual's manner of reacting to environment, or personality characteristics that define an individual's mood and behavior tendency. Typically, you can see if people are traveling in a vehicle and if the moment there is a traffic, immediately people will start complaining. See this, what is it? Maharashtra, these political people are not interested in anything. They are only making money. They are only like this. Somebody else would say, I think we should have started early. Because there is no point complaining. There is no point of cribbing. Other people will say, I think next time we should start early. And the person who feels that we should start early is always emotionally, physically, mentally, spiritually more happy. Your temperament are very, very, very important. Because every situation is an opportunity or a threat, right? So most of the people, what they look at, there are people who are more power oriented. They are driven, confident, driven. They take their initiative and are influential. Okay. So nothing wrong in each personality. It depends upon what position or what you are. For example, if you are in an organization setup, most important thing is the power becomes responsibility. Power is not holding a position. Power is your responsibility. Passion, for example, if you are in a field like music, the passion has to be very good. You have to be expressive, intuitive, impulsive. Certain things you have seen how the music directors and all. Suddenly something comes up, they immediately start writing down and then start composing music. Mystique, understated, complex, and deliberate. You know, we find the person is slightly different. Prestige, the one who is very ambitious, discerning, strong-willed. We may find we may find people who are that way. Slightly you find them abrasive. Abrasive means you feel that they are little rough. Okay, but they have their own reasons. So all, there is nothing called a good right personality. You need a combination of all of it. Alarm, perfectionist, reliable, careful, a person who's, see the color, a person who's very, very cautious. Okay, even the color is red. Rebellion, innovative. Now rebellion, people think rebellion means is a rebel. Okay, but there are characteristics. Most of the people, they have thought differently. As a result, they have become innovative, independent, unpredictable. The last one, trust, stable, reliable, comforting. You know, person, especially between friendship and all. You know, a person whom you can trust, not one day. The person is always stable. So each of these characteristics, if you look at, and based on their positions. For example, in an organization, when we do a lot of psychometric testing, suppose if you want a person to be the head of the department, you will look at a person who is, you give a psychometric test and you have to see how much the power is there. For example, if you are in a project which requires a lot of creativity, you will look at the second person who is more passionate. So you, whenever you build a team, you have a combination of all of it, right? Any doubt? So whenever teams are, especially for project, when the teams are built, they always look at people from different departments. They make them undergo certain tests to see who can do what. The person who's alarm will always tell, he is like a thermometer. He will tell that, yes, we have to be careful. I think something is going more than what is required projected budget. So it's a combination of all. So like what we saw, everything is character, mood, ambition, style, persistence. Temperament makes a lot of difference. Temperament is like a vehicle. It's like a vehicle which takes your personality. You need to know how to drive it, where to take it. So personality has connection with lot of things which are, that is why the brain has come. For example, our pituitary gland. I'm sure you would have studied anatomy, physiology. Pituitary gland is a growth hormone. Moment you complete 30, 35, the secretion is less. However, if you are continuously into practice before 35 and after 35, to a large extent, pituitary secretion can be maintained. Thyroid gland, adrenaline gland, sex gland, all of it is connected to our endocrine system. The environment, like both Gopinathan ji and Usha ji said, whatever school, home, society, cultural differences, even your neighborhood makes a lot of difference. And the other thing is learning, continuous learning. They say never stop learning because life never stop teaching you. Every day is a new learning. What are the factors influencing personality development? Biological factors? Yes. For example, biological factors involve everything. Height, weight, weight, everything. For example, somebody who is, if you look at studies of people like Hitler, he would have been hardly less than 5 feet. Okay, there was a lot of complex, inferior complex because of the personality. But he was like a towering figure. When he starts talking, the whole his voice and other things totally change because he was trying to, there is something called defense mechanism. He was trying to project his weaknesses into strength. Why? So even the biological factors are different. Sociological factors, how a person has been brought up. Psychological factors, how, for example, if there are cases where both parents, okay, just reflect upon it. If you don't agree or agree, just reflect upon it. Both the parents are very spiritual, okay, and very ritualistic. You'll find the child growing in a different manner, and the same child, as the child grows up, if the child has to go to an engineering college or other places, lot of times the child may find it very difficult. Okay, because ritual, very ritual. Spiritualism has got nothing to do with the ritualistic. So if both the parents are not very practical, you will find the child finding it little difficult. In biological system, just now we spoke about physics, chemic, nervous system. Okay, nervous system has got to do because nervous system is like the boss of our system. Sociological factors we saw: home, school, language, culture. For example, if you see, uh, that Gujarati language, okay, with all respect to Gujaratis, Gujarati language, people speak very loudly, right? So I was trying to see, is it the language? But the same language Parsis also speak. You see, Parsis also are very loud most of the time, and they are little cranky also. So that language has got to do with a lot of things. The language is such, the language is such that you will find it's important. That's why I said it's more of an inquiry. You start watching a lot of things. It's a fantastic subject. And I'm sure as yoga teachers, this is the subject which generally people tell us if you want to give a lecture in a school or college, they will call you for such things. Why do yoga? We know that physically it may help, it is like an exercise, but what else? So psychological factors are intelligence, motivation, emotion, attitude, interest, sentiments. This we touched upon earlier. Uh, Extrovert, ambivert, and introvert. There are times, see, it's very difficult to say that, but there are certain people whom we can clearly say that they are very, very introvert. Okay, unless you ask them, they will not be speaking to you. They enjoy spending time alone, is reserved, prefers to work independently, likes to process internally. So what kind of function suits them? For example, if Ushaji and Gopinathanji, what kind of job suits them? Introvert. Research can be a good option, right?
Research, yeah.
Especially, yeah, especially medical research. Okay, because they want a lot of freedom and space between them. Ambivert enjoys others but needs alone time. Can be
Mostly we are all
outgoing.
ambiverts.
Yes. Can be outgoing in the right context. Now, here, many of us may come into this ambivert at times. Okay, there are times where we are selective, and it is important to be selective. Otherwise, we will always feel that, yes, we never thought the person is like that. You can't do anything about the person, but you can understand a person. So, we will be very selective. We'll wait and see who can be, to what extent can be on teams after working independently, can process out loud or internally. No, extrovert, totally outgoing. Okay, enjoy spending time with others, is outgoing, prefers to work on teams, likes to talk things out with others. Now, see the contrast. Such person, if you put in function where he has nobody to talk, he will run away. Okay, whereas ambivert can move into both. Introvert, if you put in a function like human resource or anything, he will never like anybody coming to him. So even these kind of tests are done in the organization to find out if he is an introvert, however academically strong, based on the function. There is something called job person fit. So there are tests which will tell you whether you are fit for this job or not. Based on that only, the organizations take a call.
I will value add to it
Yeah,
in the corporate level and the marketing and sales side. The
yeah,
extrovert comes. Okay.
yes,
And the introvert is a person who is attached to one table only, one confined to one table only. And he will not never want to expand his ambition or expand the work or expand his intelligence level. Okay. Though he may be having it. Okay.
But intelligence level, I don't agree. Intelligence level, introvert, they are intelligent. They have deep thinking actually. They go deep into something. They
No,
don't
a
come out
person
that
with
surface.
research, a person who is doing research, I take in yoga also, goes on thinking, he becomes alone only. So his thinking process goes on to that subject, which is a subject of this month. Hemjith, please correct me if I'm wrong.
yeah. See, now how do we compartmentalize is always a challenge. Okay. Uh, an introvert over a period of time can show characteristics, can show, but to a large extent, it is very difficult. It's like changing a religion for the person. Whereas what you said, extrovert, typically if we find marketing people, no, they enjoy most of the marketing decisions and planning happens outside. You'll find them having cutting chai and talking outside. Okay. They'll be very, very friendly. They'll know everything within the team. They'll know every family member within the team. So to a large extent, yes, introvert can be in functions which are, for example, mathematics. But now what is happening is that at a large, now organizations are looking at what every function at a higher level as you grow to a higher level. For example, a research head who started as, who was quite an introvert, but later he becomes the director of the department where he has 20 people reporting to him. What will happen then? Okay. And that is the time that he has to develop social skills. Otherwise, people will not love to work with him. They'll start feeling that, yes, why should I work with somebody who, when one day I'm not there, will never ask what happened to me or anything happened to my family member. So to a large extent, we are all taught. For example, when I was general manager, I was not knowing much about finance. But as I grew, they asked me to spend more time in Sun Pharmaceuticals. They made me sit for 4 years. All the product launches I have to sit as an HR person because I should know what kind of people I'm selecting. Just a second. Just a second. Huh? Yes, to a large extent, then what happens is that it's a very important topic which you all are discussing. Very, very important. So, to a large extent, beyond the level, uh, people have to be very flexible. Okay, and there is something called flexing in psychology. There are some things called natural style and adapted style. For example, if Srijit is very, very systematic in life and he works in an organization where his reporting authority is last minute person, runs last minute, will tell him, Arey, you should have done it, you should have done it. Srijit will find it very difficult. However, since job is important, he should start learning to be flexing. The word is known as flexing. He should know next time very well in advance, my boss is going to be like this. Anytime, anything he can ask. So I should prepare myself. On the other hand, if Srijit is very unorganized and the place where he works, his senior is very, very organized. Anywhere he has to go 9:30, he will expect Srijit to be there at 9 o'clock. But then Srijit, if he is not organized, he will find it difficult. So to a large extent, it is said that all of us flex, flex to a large extent, even in marriage relationship. To the extent where flexing is there, you will find there is a lot of adjustments. In other words, we say flexing is nothing but adjustments. If we are not adjusting, then what will happen is that most of the marriages end up, okay, we all know that all of us are married people, right? So that is how it is. So compartmentalization happens to a certain extent, which we can quickly make out, but to a larger role, typically, you'll find father is very strict when the children are small, right? As the children grow up, there is something called, there's a wonderful model called situational leadership. Okay, which it will take 1 hour. I'll not tell you that now, but if required, we can do it. When the child is small, the parents become very, very full of love and affection. When the child is maybe 2 years, 3 years, 4 years, 5 years, the moment the child becomes five onwards, the task is a relationship is little lowered and father parents become little task oriented. The moment the child reaches 14, 15 years, they'll lower the task and then be relationship oriented. But now this is the time when the child has to be in 10th standard. Child is going to study late night. Child is going to get up early. You go and make coffee for the child. The moment the child goes into college, you reduce your task. The child is already in engineering. You reduce the task, be relationship oriented, go and meet him in the hostel. Now the biggest challenge as the child becomes 22, 23, the moment child finishes the study, you have to be low in relationship. If not, he will never be able to make up his own friends, his own family. And if not, if the mother is very close to the son can end up becoming a mama's boy. And if the father is very close to the daughter, every characteristics which she sees in the father, she will expect in her boyfriend or the person whom she is going to get married. So automatically it is happening. It is known as situational leadership by Kenneth Blanchard and Paul Hertzin. Beautiful model. And what happens if the father is very strict between 5 and 7 and 8 and 9? The child can become a big rebel later, can pick up smoking, can pick up drinking, all of it. So a father of the house, as the child grows, they say, when your children grow, you have to be a friend to them rather than a parent. Anyway, so this also we touched upon. The id is the unconscious level. Okay, all kind of unwanted things, repressed desires. It can be uh, very lustful, sexually oriented thoughts happen at the id way, unconscious mind. Unconscious mind is always talking about or trying to make it. But then what happens is that ego or the reality principles tries to cover it up, rationalize it, give a socially accepted concept and then expresses it. Whereas superego is talking about very, very high level. This we have already touched upon when we learned the other part, psychology. Okay, this also is a part of, when the oral stage is when the child is starts from the genital stage. uh, the child is more, you can find the child more attached to the, they try to touch the private parts and this and that. And then the change happens, the latency stage. Then next stage is the phallic stage, then the anal stage and the oral stage. So each stages the child goes through this also, I think we touched upon it. Okay, now what happens in the oral stage? uh, Oral stage is where most of the child will put the uh, you'll find the thumb sucking. Okay, thumb sucking, and then slowly the child from the bottle habits are taught, then slowly bottle habits are also. And when the anal stage comes, it is all kind of toilet training. This is where again I spoke about task. Rupaji, give me half an hour, I'm in a class. I'll call you back. Then between 4 and 5, there is a in a time when the children are used to again touching the genitals and all those things. So but then all those things we keep on correcting them. Between 6 and 12, sexually repressed, expanding social contacts. And that's the time when they say all kind of education should be taught in cleanliness, hygiene, all those things. And when it comes to the puberty, then genitals being sexually intimate, establishing intimate relationship, contributing to society through working. A lot of channelizing can happen. Each stage, the expression is more of the psychophysical. 5 states of chitta, we all know that. So what happens? Typically look from top. Okay, when somebody comes to the class and never has learned anything, so the guna will be very, asking the person to come to in time is itself more important. So lot of tama guna is there. Slowly, when we start teaching, okay, the person slowly moves into the next level, shifta, where it is still the rajasic activity. Most of the practices, then we will tell them close your eyes, start concentrating on your breath, count your breath, all those kind of stuff. The next third level is where you are now slowly moving into the next level. Okay. Then sattva, purity. Now even the practices change, right? We'll start teaching little bit of pranayam and other things. Then the next stage is where dharana, dhyana, the higher levels are taught. And the last level is more of a level where things really happen on its own. the guna increases, sattva guna increases. Later stage, you reach a level where gunatit, where you no guna, you are above the guna. Okay, this is how the
This,
development.
Hemjith, 1 minute. Practical
Ah,
teaching topic. This is very important. Okay.
ah.
Practical teaching topic, 5 states of Chitta. First chapter of Patanjali Yoga Sutra. They'll definitely ask, what are the 5 states? How it is correlated with Sattva Rajas? You can elaborate on this point. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. Next.
This is just a pictorial, toddler. Now here, just watch. Our spine is horizontal or vertical? Gominathan ji, Usha ji,
Vertical, na, sir?
our spine is horizontal. Okay, original spine is horizontal. As a result of evolution, we were called quadrupeds. Okay, see the child. This is the original spine. So the horizontal spine, due to evolution, has become vertical. So see the difficulty. The spine which is straight, the way when you do Marjarasana, that is the original position. So whenever people have anything related to kyphosis or something, they are all taught more on the Marjarasana type to bring the original Marjarasana A, B, C, Tripada Marjarasana, Marjarasana with folding the legs. Originally, we were all quadrupeds. We were walking on all the four. And see the last stages. Again, the kyphosis. Slightly, which area is bending? The thoracic area is bending. Okay. As a result, the cervical is moving. So thoracic area gets bent faster. We have seen this from a child, infant to a toddler to a preschooler, grade schooler, teenage, young adult, middle age. Like that it goes. So we have seen what are the factors: biological factors, cultural factors, social factors, situational factors. Now, rightly told by uh, all of you, situational factors. How do we handle this? Most challenging, right? Most challenging. That is why in Bhagavad Gita, I think my paper was on conflict resolution. They say there are 4 kinds of conflicts: conflict with self, conflict with others, conflict with nature, and conflict with society. So, situational factors are very, very, very important. Okay. Patanjali, Pratipaksha Bhavanam, 2, chapter number 2, 32 onwards, says every situation, vitarka badane Pratipaksha Bhavanam. There are certain things which happens for a cause. Okay. I will tell you, suddenly last night at around 2:30, I had temperature. Okay. I knew I would have at least 101 temperature. And what I did nothing. I knew I have been taxing myself a lot. Just a second. I've been, so what I did nothing today. Nothing. No reading newspaper. I keep reading 3 to 4 newspapers. I read books a little bit. Then I go through my mails. I did nothing. So I said, no, this is another way of body telling me you need relaxation. Okay, you're taxing your mind. Your brain cells are very active. As a result, your cells in the body, your tissues are getting heated. Nothing I did. I was okay. So it is making me tell vitarka. Vitarka is tarka is logic. Vitarka means the illogical part. Opposite of that logic. I said nothing else is required. Just rest. So situational factors are very, very important. How do you? There comes the question of temperament, which is in spite of, see, if you look at Duryodhan, in one of the verse, I don't remember exactly where the quote is. Duryodhana is also brought up like who? Like Arjun, Bhim, Yudhishthir. The teachers were also from the princely. They were also princely children. But he said, in spite of knowing everything, nothing stops me in becoming injustice, in becoming wise, VIC, in becoming cruel. Nothing stops me. This is exactly a major part where all Vedantic study says knowing and doing gap. In spite of knowing everything, we all know that smoking is injurious. ITC has given that on the all the cigarettes, but every year 18 to 21% profits they are increasing in spite of knowing. So situational factors are very, very important. In spite of knowing everything, in spite of acting everything, you will find the more intelligent people committing more intelligent fraud. See those people, especially Menon sir can say, I think now yesterday or some, today I think that Cosmos Bank, so many people, top people, AGM, GM, all of them are now got into, in spite of all that money. We know that what has happened to Chanda Kochar and harassment, right?
Yeah, yeah.
What assets? Okay. What assets they have? Still, they had to go and do all those kind of stuff.
Acha, Cosmos ka it has come in the paper.
Yeah. Today.
Today's paper. Yeah.
Yeah. So, situational factors, very, very important. To a large extent, this is where yoga comes into play. This is very, very, very important situational factors. Can we see? I'll give you a clear example. Try out this. Okay, I'm not a great yogi. If you teach Marjarasan A carefully, our reptilian brain, what is reptiles? No, all the kind of insects which quickly move. If you teach Marjarasan very nicely, I've done this with one of the IT company long, long back. It was not a separate class. These people had come to yoga with the Niketan. If you teach Marjarasan A and make them breathe from the cervical, the brain starts pushing the blood to the upper levels from cerebrum to medulla. Most of the time, cervical blood stops and then reptilian brain gets activated. So if you practice Marjarasan, I have found your responses increases rather than your reactions. Menon sir can tell.
Yeah, yeah, correct. Exactly.
And second practice which I have seen, Uttana Vakrasan. Okay.
Uttana?
Uttana Vakrasan, where you can see by stopping the blood flow towards the cervical to the brain, you immediately starts relaxing. That means what happened when you are in the night? You are continuously thinking. You do Uttan Vakrasan. Okay, lying down, keeping both the hands under the head. Okay, elbows fixed. Go to one side, both the legs will be on the other side, head will be on the. In Uttana Vakrasan, you are able to stop. Your blood circulation will be hardly 82 to 83% down. Only 14 to 16% the brain receives blood circulation. So then what happens is that our ability to make people think before acting. In simple words, remember this, write and keep. Presence of mind. Most important thing. If you have too much of it, you will not trust anybody. If you have too less of it, you will be taken advantage of. Every moment, your presence of mind. When you pray to God, you should say, my presence of mind should be very, very. So such practices will help you, especially Uttan Vakrasan and Marjarasan A. Because, sorry. Okay. This is exactly what we said. The cerebellum. Cerebellum takes care of all our motor neuron. I'm telling you, just stand as age grows now. Just stand with one leg and fold the other leg and try to bring it nearer to the waist. If you want, you can take both the hands in the side. Both the hands you can hold like straight, okay, in the sides, palms open. Just try to balance. Your cerebellum is directly getting activated. You understood the practice, no? Just you have to stand with one leg and folded and try to bring it nearer to the abdomen. The other hand should be straight to balance and stand there for as much time. This you can do 2, 3, 4, 5 times in a day. In when we were in martial arts, we were told to stand like that for 15 minutes because balance is there. Suddenly you will know what to do and what not to do. Your memory also gets enhanced. You can slowly start reading newspaper also. Just take the paper and look at the headlines that way. Physical factors, we said, we already spoke about physical factors. Okay, there are a lot of things, and mostly they are all from the Western way of looking at it. For us, the stages we have seen, hereditary factors, we know that. Social factors, very important. IQ, intelligent quotient. Before that, it was PQ. Earlier, it was PQ, personality quotient. Then it was IQ. Then it became EQ, emotional quotient. Then it became SQ, social quotient. Then it became AQ, adversity quotient. In adversity, how do you act? And the final thing is spiritual quotient. That if your spiritual quotient is strong, your adversity quotient will be strong, your emotional quotient will be stronger, your intelligence will be stronger, your personality will become. So it became the other way. So today, spiritual intelligence or spiritual quotient is highest. We have seen cultural factors. The next one, personality development through yoga. That is what exactly what physical ascents can lead to. Okay. We all know that when we talk about yoga, improving awareness, improving self-knowledge. Okay. Self-knowledge is nothing but knowledge of yourself. Agree, disagree? Knowledge of yourself means uh, you are not a normal physical body. You are a spiritual person in a physical body. Okay. Improving self-knowledge is nothing but knowledge of your own self. Finding greater self-direction. Okay. Lot of things. Introspection. We think before we act. Building self-confidence. Okay. And that is this self-confidence again is what? Lot of acceptance comes. Lot of acceptance. Otherwise, you cannot build self-confidence. Because what happens in confidence, it is nothing but acceptance. Suppose you're going to talk to somebody whom you know very well. This person is going to be getting angry. So what you will do? You will not expect. You will not put E before A. Always remember, put A before E. Accept before you expect. So when your acceptance grows, acceptance is very, very part of spiritual. You will understand, yes, summer is going to be summer, winter is going to be winter, in monsoon it is going to be like this. Lot of this ritu, the whole of that we will be able to. So self-confidence comes when your acceptance increases. Now, what is acceptance? More about our own, accepting our own self. There is a saying, patience with others is respect. Patience with our family members is nothing but love. Patience with ourselves is confidence that there are things which I'm not doing. I'm not able to get up early. I'm not able to do this practice. I'm not able to read. So what? But I have patience on myself that a day will come that I will increase my whatever I want to do in my life. Enhancing lifestyle or the quality of life. Okay, all the yama niyamas are clearly indicating that that's individual conduct, the social conduct, becoming happier and making others also happier. How can it be? Very easy to tell. What is the answer? How can we make ourselves happier? Again, do you think happiness will come from others? Or we have to be happy? If others can give us happiness, then that's a bonus. becoming happier, and making also others happy. See, the moment you expect something, then you are unhappy. Okay. You accept the person and then you expect. No, I'm not saying not to expect, because without expectation, you cannot live. Understand this person is like this. Over a period of time, the person also feels that you are able to understand the other person. Immediately, the person also will say, okay, this person who's coming to me often is different. Controlling anger. Is anger a bad emotion? Ushaji?
No, sir. Sometimes.
Okay, well, right answer.
Mm.
Anger is a positive emotion, but rage is not. Mahatma Gandhi was asked this question. He said, when I had a first class ticket and I was asked to go to the second class or third class, those days third class, cattle class they call. He said I was angry. But I was not rageous. I did not go there and take stones and throw on the glass of the train and broke it. I to internalize that anger. And he says, then I felt I am an educated person, I'm still angry. Just imagine my people, my countrymen who are living in their own land and who are like slaves. He says, my anger made me fight for independence. Many parents come to me and say that their anger. I ask them, what is the reason? They say, no, my child doesn't get up. I said, what time you put the child to sleep? No, we sleep late. I said, the problem. I said, you don't get angry. And even if you're getting angry, you have to change. You go and sleep. Okay. And getting little angry is okay, because then that is going to improve the child. But don't pull the child and don't throw water on the child. Just make the child get up. Okay. Learn how to do it. It improves health. We all know that. Spiritual development and much more. Uh, Now, personality, life is a continuous learning. Okay. If you see many people after a level, this was my topic when I wrote about our Guruji, that why ego develops after certain level of practices. It is when you start developing your practices as yoga teacher, certain level your ego develops. And that is the time where you have to do a lot of swadhyay, self-study or study on yourself, and see that what I know is nothing in comparison to what I do not know. Your real learning happens after you become a teacher, because there is so much to learn. The moment you stop learning, your ego takes over. When you when you continuously learn, then there is an ecosystem which helps you to flourish. Ego versus eco. Okay, so don't stop learning. Personality development is more obvious during childhood. We all know that. When people experience rapid physical, emotional, and intellectual growth. During adulthood, personality traits change at a much lower pace. So what we say? 21 days, right? We say 21 days, you do something, it can become an habit, both good or bad. There is a person called Dr. Walter Staples. He's done a lot of work on neuro. And there's a beautiful book. I'll give you the title later. He says, Gopinathanji, tell one subject which you are not at all knowing. Very dry subject.
Statistics.
Okay. Statistics. Ushaji, any subject. Atomic physics, nuclear physics. Okay. They say if you start reading, what is the word? From where this word came? How it came? History of nuclear physics, history of statistics, why statistics is used, who are the people who are statistics, what are the methods. He says, if you read 20 minutes or 15 pages, either of it, if you're able to read 15 pages, well and good. Otherwise, 20 minutes on the same subject for 6 years. After 6 years, Gopinathanji, they will call you to give lectures in IIT. So it is a laboratory proven experiment. Okay, 6 years, you will be a master in that subject, any subject. Because after that, it is your neurons or your axons, your tendon, all of them do the processing. Okay, it's like sambar. You put the things, the masala will get automatically made. So that powerful it is. Dr. Walter Staples, beautiful book, very, very simple book. I'll put that title after the class. 10 rules of social behavior. This is typically our Yamaniyama. It is also shown at the Pratipika, chapter number 1, 17. We know all that 10 rules. Okay. Atha Pratipika talks more. Certain systems, 8, Ashtanga Yoga, other places it is more. So physical level, there is change, mental level, emotional level, and spiritual level. What are the benefits of yoga? We all know that. Physical level, only physical level we'll see first. If you look at how many systems are there in the body? How many systems? Yes. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. How many systems? 12, 13. How many systems?
8 to 9 systems.
9. Okay, you can call 9 or 11. If you change muscular and skeletal separately. Okay. For example, if you want to start central nervous system, circulatory system, digestive system, respiratory system, digestive system, endocrine system, lymphatic, then muscular system, skeletal system, excretory system, skin as a system, and integumentary system, which is considered with all your pores. Okay, all the pores where there is a perspiration coming in. So all of it practices help. Okay. Now, very simple. Increase oxygen and blood supply. Most of the asanas does it. Okay. Very important asana which increases our circulatory system is balasana. Okay. The moment you do balasana, and then you see you will find a lot of energy in balasana. Okay. Then anti-aging, generally all spine related asanas are connected to that. And improved sleep, most of the asanas, the outcome. Now normalizes BP and sugar. One of the most powerful asana. Okay. Most of the asanas which are at the pancreas helps. But again, Paschimottanasana. Paschimottanasana increases your renal activity, liver, kidneys, all of it. Because straight away there is a total bend and pancreas. So whenever remember that what asanas, each of the brain area as its own. For example, you need to know this. Okay, what happens at cerebellum? As I said, I took up only cerebellum. Motor control, coordination, posture, balance and equilibrium, motor learning, reflex response. I'm telling you, tomorrow onward, start doing it. Okay, just stand straight, bend the leg, one leg, bring it near the abdomen, and almost like the thigh touching the waist, and take both the hands, keep it on the sides, and balance. So, this is our Menon sir's special slide. You can blossom like a flower, like Rumi, the poet has said, you are not a drop in the ocean. You are an ocean in a drop. As individual, we are not a drop in the ocean. We are an ocean in a drop form. There are various dimensions of personality. These dimensions are related to physical, emotional, intellectual, social, and spiritual aspects of your behavior. For a holistic personality development, yoga plays an important role. Yogic practices like asana, pranayam, bandha plays a beneficial role in physical development of children. There is a series of asanas and pranayam which help to improve. This all you all are experts. Yoga plays a critical role in the development of positive emotions. It brings emotional stability. It helps to control negative emotions. Yogic practices such as yama, niyama, asana, pranayam, pratyahara, and meditation helps in emotional management. My MA, sorry, not MA, TTC, my project was on emotional intelligence, emotions and yoga. Yogic practices such as asana, pranayam, dharana, dhyana, meditation help to develop sorry. Yogic practices such as asana, pranayam, dharana, dhyana, meditation helps to develop concentration, memory, and thereby help in intellectual development. My suggestion is make people practice asana for some time, unless you are doing some workshops for schools or something. Some key elements of this process include respect for others, listening carefully to other persons, being interested in them, and voicing your thoughts and feelings politely, honestly, and clearly so that you can be easily heard. Easily heard and understood. Again, social quotient. Principles of Yama include these elements and are very important as these help us in betterment of our relationship with our friends, parents, teachers. As I said, simple. Respect others is only giving them, having patience with others is only giving them respect. For spiritual development, Yama Niyama, Pratyahara, and Dhyana meditation are helpful. Yama and Niyama helps to develop our moral values, while Pranayam and meditation helps us to develop our true self. Introspection is very effective for the development of the self, which automatically comes with continuous practice. Huh? This is again just a symbolic representation. So therefore, why personality? Because it is important that our individual self merges with the universal self, and that is the purpose. Questions? Lots are there because see, let us only look at it from. Let us look at it only from the exam point of view. Any questions? It's a beautiful topic. Okay.
More of psychological this.
Yeah. And see,
stories on-
and what happens as parents, as you people have taken care of your children. So it's very easy for you all to relate and come out with your own model. Okay. Look at a model which is 45 minutes of lecture. Okay. Then practice, and certain practices immediately you can make the person feel. Okay. You can make the person feel. And this will be always